Well, hello, welcome back to my kitchen. So the recipe I'm doing today has got me a little confused, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Because while Lady was in the hospital, I'm looking through different recipes, writing things down, and different types of like Mexican food, American food, Asian food, just trying to find some recipes that are new to me. So I came across this one, and maybe it's something I don't know what it is, but it's called pork dumplings. And I would think a pork dumpling is some pork meat wrapped up in this little thin dough that you either steam or fry or whatever, or like chicken and dumplings, you drop the dough ball in the thing. But it's not. It's in what I would call a pasta dish. So I'm gonna make it. It looks yummy. It does. One of the ingredients is shrimp. I'm just gonna omit that. We have shellfish allergies in the house, and we have 3 people who are allergic to shellfish. So we're just gonna skip over that. But do know I'll tell you when you're supposed to be adding it. So if you wanna make it, you'll get the full effect. So without further ado, let's get it, let's go. Let's heat up those pots, come on. All right, here we go. Here's everything you're gonna need, mostly. There's no shrimp out there, as I explained before. You're gonna need some cabbage. The cabbage right now, at the time of filming, is 77 cents a pound. So that. You're gonna need to have some mushrooms. You can use fresh or canned. Canned was the cheaper way to go. You're gonna need some ground sausage and some pasta. I'll pop the word up on the screen for what kind of pasta it is, but I'm gonna go with the linguine because that's what I have. You're gonna need some kosher salt divided, so you'll need it 2 different times, but I'm gonna split the difference with the kosher salt for the cooking process, and I'm gonna use the seasoned salt when it gets to time to do the cabbage, but the recipe calls for kosher salt. You're gonna need some sesame oil, some soy sauce, olive oil or vegetable oil, some garlic, some ginger, and some pepper. You're also going to need some black vinegar. I've never even heard of that, so it's going to be something on my bucket list to find out what that's all about. Or some chili oil, something like that for the end. I'm not into the spicy, but I'll show you what I'm going to sub it out for. So this is what I'm going to sub it out for. I have some sweet chili sauce and some sriracha. I believe they're both the same, just different manufacturer. So that's what I have in the house. That's what the kids like to use. They also have like regular hot sauce like Crystals and things like that. But whatever they want, they can use. I'm gonna go with the regular. I might put a splash in there just to see, but there we go. So first thing we're gonna do is get a pot of water boiling and start cooking the cabbage and the sausage. All right. I'm just gonna dice this little tiny head of cabbage up. I took this one off because it just looks kind of wilty, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I like that one. So it's not a very big core in there, but I'm just gonna slice this up any old kind of way I feel like it. I don't think the technique much matters. I'll get it when I get up there. So I'm gonna slice it down just like that. And I may or may not cut these pieces in half. I think I'm gonna leave them whole because the last time I made something similar to this, I cut them down smaller and I kind of missed the cabbage bigger pieces. So I think I might just leave it whole like that. There we go, stems out. So I'm just gonna break these up and soak them in the sink while I'm working on the rest of the recipe. All right, I wanna show you something. When you get these pieces inside your cabbage that are really thick, most people will just cut that piece out and stick it to the side. Other than the core, and I guess you could do it with the core as well. But when I see those, I'm looking for a good piece, like real thick, like that. Let me move some lighting over. Does that help? If it's real thick like that, all I do is I take my knife and I shave those pieces down nice and thin so that they'll cook at the same rate the others will, and I don't have to throw that much cabbage away because I particularly like cabbage. Not everybody does. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to do that to the rest. I'm going to put this in some water to soak, and we're going to get to getting. All right, you see this whole pile? This is the little ends that you would have thrown away anyway. And the only thing I'm throwing away is the stem and this. Or you can save it for soups and stews and things like that. Today, I'm just throwing it away. All right, so the water's boiling. I'm going to put the pasta in. I always called it linguine. I learned something today. That's linguine. I've been saying it wrong my whole life. But it's going in the water. So the recipe calls for vegetable oil. I'm going to use olive oil. 1, because I'm not doing it in a wok. And 2, I just don't really like vegetable oil in my food like that. All right, so I set over a high heat. Got to add that in there and just break it up with a wooden spoon or whatever you got. Just twist it, comes out. Boop. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. All right, so we're just gonna smash that up. Oh, look, it browned up a little bit. All right. That's all we're gonna do. All right, well, you see there's a little bit of pink left. If you're going to be adding your shrimp, now is when you would do it. The last 2, 3, 4 minutes. All right, the recipe says season with a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, okay? 1/2 teaspoon, I'm gonna trust the process. I lightly salted the water for the pasta because I knew I was adding salt and we were having sausage. All right, now that this is done, in about 2 minutes or a minute while I just let that salt combine, we're going to remove it and set it to the side. I'm going to leave all of the drippings in the pan. So the recipe says to throw in another tablespoon of vegetable oil. I cook cabbage a lot, and there's quite a bit of oil in the bottom. I think there's plenty, so I'm going to deviate. I'm just not going to add any more oil. If I feel like it needs it, I'll add a tiny bit, but I don't think I'm gonna. So what we're gonna do is add the cabbage. It filled my bowl all the way up. It says it wants it cooking on medium-high heat. So I got mine at a 7. I just turned it down because it was a little bit higher than that. So that's what we're gonna do. Number 7, in she goes. Now, it says it wants you to add regular salt to this after it wilts down a little bit. I'm going to sub it out for the Lawry's seasoned salt. That is my favorite. That's the one I like the best. So we're going to put a lid on that and let it wilt down a little bit. All right, let's take a peek at it. I'm going to open it up away from us so I don't get a facial. See, I knew it wasn't going to need more. Still got to cook it a little bit. It wants it browned, and that's why I let it sit. I'm going to add the salt now so it can cook through. It calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of table salt. I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of Lawry's seasoned salt. You know, somebody asked me one time, how could you do this? How could you figure out how to make these recipes? And my answer was, when you grow up poor, I was the youngest of 8, you figure it out. All right, we're getting close. I want this to brown up and wilt down just a little bit. All right, so the last couple of minutes here, I just cooked it with the lid off. Let it get the browning that it talked about. I don't usually brown my cabbage, but I did this time. Gotta trust the process a little bit. All right, so we're gonna get this out of the pan and set it in a bowl. Oop, had a piece of cabbage in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. This is why I rather do olive oil instead of vegetable oil. To this, we're gonna add the mushrooms. If they were fresh, add them now. If they're cooked, add them now. Here's the thing. I accidentally opened up another can of mushrooms, so I'm throwing them in. I'm not gonna waste it. So, I hope they're gonna like mushrooms today. Calls for 3 tablespoons rice wine vinegar. White vinegar would do, I'm sure. And we're just gonna let that come to temp. That's a big old mushroom there. My kids eat mushrooms. I don't know if it's their favorite, but they'll eat it. They look like clams to me. Come on. All right, so it's gonna stay together. So I gave it a few minutes to soak up that vinegar flavor. Turn it down just a little bit. It calls for 5 cloves of garlic or something crazy. Yeah, 5 cloves. I don't have fresh garlic, so I'm just gonna add a couple of plops. 1 more plop. It also calls for fresh ginger. I don't have that either, so we're just gonna add some. And the recipe will be in the description box because I'm not gonna be able to remember all of this. Okay. So a nice big old plop of ginger. We're gonna let that get aromatic. Tell you that vinegar, I like the smell of vinegar. I don't know why, I just do. It now calls for some scallions. Guess what? I don't have that either. So we're gonna throw some chives in there. And when that gives off a nice good aroma, we're gonna start adding a bunch of stuff. Well, not a bunch of stuff, the rest of it. Ooh, I smell that. Scallions and vinegar. All right. I want to cut that piece right there. Let me get a knife. All right. We're going to add 1/4 cup of soy. We're going to add some sesame oil, a lot of it, more than I'm comfortable with, 2 tablespoons. Going to give that a big old mixy poo. Just wait, try to like smell it a little bit of a nutty smell. Oh, there it goes. All right, to this, we're going to add back the sausage and the cabbage. I hope this is enough juice. I always don't trust it. We're the saucy family, remember? We're going to add the cabbage. I think I'm going to need a bigger bowl or pot. Yeah, we're going to need a bigger pot. I don't have a bigger pot. I know what I can though. I could put it in my spaghetti pot. Whoop! And overboard. Yeah, I'm going to have to put this into my my sauce pot because I can't put a pound of spaghetti in this. So live and learn. Don't do what I do. All right, before I add it to the other pot, there's a lot of flavor in that pot. I'm going to add the pasta here, stir it around, and then mix everything in the giant pot I have to the left. I did run these under some warm water again to warm them up. So I'm going to take whatever flavor's in this pan and get it on my noodles. I'm so indecisive. I'm going to give it a try. If not, I got this big pot right here. I'm going to add a little bit and try to stir it around and then add some more. Just live and learn. So I got my pasta fork thing. And I have the heat on low as I'm mixing it through to warm everything back up. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slowly add the other ingredients in here. You know what I forgot to add? The pepper. I could have cut a big old pinch of pepper in here and a big old pinch of pepper in the other pot. Let's get to mixing. So I'm gonna start adding everything and I'm gonna show you what this looks like after I get it all into a pan. One or the other, the pan or the pot. I got it in there. It's all in there. It's mixed. If there was some shrimp in here, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it. I just drizzle a little bit more soy across the top. I think, you know, I lost something in between going from that pot to this pot. But that sesame oil, I tasted it. Just the pasta, it's got a little bit of kick to it from all that sesame oil. I don't know, it's a little strong for me. But, all right, I'm gonna try and mix this up a little bit better, but we're done. This is going to, it could feed like 7, 8 people, this pot. I'm gonna have to call my daughter up and tell her to come over and help us eat it. That's done. I'm gonna meet you at the plate. And there's my plate. I'm gonna meet you at the table. Did you hear Eric? I did.
If you get any benefit at all from my content, you can help me out by clicking like, share, commenting, and definitely hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video.
We're at the table. That made so much food. It made more food than the people here could eat. So I called my daughter and asked her to come over and help us eat it. Aiden's gonna, Aiden. You're not Aiden. I was with Aiden all day yesterday at the hospital. I have sweet chili sauce and we have some sriracha. He's gonna try one or the other or both. I don't know, but he's not gonna put it all over because I don't know why. He just said he wasn't gonna do it. All right, so get a little bit of cabbage. You know, I really wanted to put in here to slip my ding dang mind. I wanted to add a little bit of carrot in here, but that might change the flavor profile a little bit. I think I got a good mouthful there.
Oh, I don't really have much on here.
Get a little piece of the sausage on there. You must have buried yours. You want a piece off my plate? You got a mushroom and everything?
No.
Take some off my plate. Here.
I need a
Pardon the fingers, but it was already in your food. There you go.
All right.
All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Set, go. Sorry. Wasn't very pretty, was it? Got it? It's got quite a bit of flavor.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the sausage.
Oh, really?
That's good.
How about that? All right. Go for it. Just take a little bit, like a little bit on your fork, like this, like twirl it around, and then do a splash.
All right.
You have to do a giant forkful. So if you had the spoon, you could spit it on there, but that's all right. Just go for it. If you have to suck it up, you suck it up. See that sesame oil, because there was 2 tablespoons, I gave it a little bit of heat for me. It's a lot of hot sauce.
Mmm.
You like it better, or which way?
I like it better without the hot sauce, honestly.
But it's still good with it, because you said,
Yeah.
Do you want to try that or no? No? It's ruining it?
Yeah, I like it better without it.
Well, it said chili sauce, so that's the closest thing I had to anything. All right, let me get everybody else fed. Let them, no, that's not what I'm gonna do. We're gonna get everybody else fed, and they're gonna let you know what they think about it. Bye-bye. Dinner's over. How'd they do? Boom! They couldn't finish. They tried. They did their best. They could not do it. I didn't think they could anyway. That was a lot of food. So let's see what the kids thought about it. Eric, what'd you think about dinner?
I really liked it. I think it was good with the hot sauce, but I prefer it without it.
Awesome.
And the sausage was really good.
Okay. Aiden, what'd you think about the dinner?
I really liked it. It was amazing.
Tyler, what'd you think about dinner?
Loved it. It was very good.
And you liked the mushrooms, right? Yes. Yes, he did. And me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, having said that, I have a very high sense of smell. It's a real thing. So I have a higher sense of taste. I think that the 2 tablespoons of sesame oil was just a skosh too high. The kids absolutely loved it. They're like, what are you talking about? So I know it's me, but I just want to say that because somebody else might have a very sensitive palate, I guess, as I do. But I would eat it just as it is any day of the week. But I think I would throw a little bit extra cabbage in there, a little bit more than a pound. Oh, so there you have it. I hope you try it. I hope you like it. Leave me a comment either way. See you later. Bye.